Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Te Namaha. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Namacharya Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to Understand Gita in 18 days. So today we are in chapter 2. My voice is audible? Clear?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So today's chapter contents of Gita summarized. Why? Because this is name given by Prabhupada. This is also called as Sankhya Yoga, because Sankhya Yoga, the qualities of soul is being described in this chapter. So why Prabhupada is calling this summary? Because whatever we are going to study in the 18 days, we are going to have a glimpse of it in this chapter. So everything is covered in this chapter, and whatever we are going to see from tomorrow is in detail. Okay, that is why this is also called as contents of Gita summarized. So yesterday's chapter, anybody remembers what was the 5 reasons? Okay, before that, let's take Sri Radha Govind. Let's pay our obeisances to Sri Radha Govind and to Srila Prabhupada.
Compassion, no enjoyment, sin.
Yeah, one second.
Tradition. Okay.
Yeah. So let's pay our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, based on whose teaching we are conducting this course. So these are the yesterday there was 5 questions. Compassion. So why did Arjuna not fight? So Krishna is going to answer for everything in this chapter. Not that like Arjuna has to wait for that 18 days, right? So it is not like that. Immediately Krishna is going to answer everything. So compassion, we are not body, no enjoyment, heaven or kingdom. Fear of sinful activities, devotional activity, no sin. Destruction of family tradition, be a role model to prevent Varna Shankara. Indecision, serve the Lord with firm determination. So these are the topics which we are going to see in this chapter. Okay. So now you can tell. Yes, Mataji, somebody was saying. So can you please name what are the 5 reasons? One you can tell, 1 or 2, so that everybody can participate. Yes.
It first was compassion and the second was no enjoyment.
Yes, very good. Yes, others. What are the others? Others also can. You can also post in chat. Fast. Very big chapter. Nobody remembers? What are the reasons given by? Yes, that is sin. Okay. Family tradition, right? So that comes under family tradition. Thank you. Nice. Dipti Mataji. And others? Yeah. Yes, Simi Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, destruction of dynasty, and one was
Yes.
indecisiveness.
Indecisiveness. Yes, very good. So what is that one? Compassion, enjoyment. Did we say everything now? Compassion, enjoyment, sin, family tradition, indecisiveness. Yes, these are the reasons. He gave and he gave up that he will not fight, right? These are the 5. Compassion, because by seeing his own people, his kinsmen, so Arjuna was not able to fight. That's what he gave. And then no enjoyment. He said, what am I going to do with this kingdom? Krishna, I don't want this kingdom, right? And then he said sin, because by killing all of them, the gurus, the teacher, if I kill my own teacher, I will get the sin, and my own grandfather. And then family tradition. So if all the soldiers get killed, what will happen to their family? The children will become Varna Sankaras. So that was his concern. And then indecision. So that shloka comes in this chapter. So where Arjuna says that I'm really not able to make out, because if I have to kill those Atatainaha, means those 6 aggressors whom as per Vedas they can be killed, but then he's in a confusion whether I have to really kill them or I have to just give up. So these are the confusion for Arjuna. So Arjuna was asked to fight with his own guru and grandfather. Has anybody in history has made sacrifice like that? So you can post your answer in Zoom chat. So has anybody you can recall from Shastras, in Bhagavatam? So there are few, many other people apart from Arjuna who have given up for Krishna, sacrifice made. There are many people. Radha Mataji. Yes. Prahalad, very nice. Viraj. Yes, because Prahalad sacrificed his own father, right? Not Ravan. Ravan is a demon, right? So he didn't sacrifice. Yes, Prahalad is very good answer. Okay, we'll see now. There are many people. So father and son relationship. So Prahalad and Harshavas and Bahulashvas. So they are sons of Yaksha. Okay, Daksha Prajapati. So actually he created them to progenate the universe, right? Because initially there was none, right? Initially Krishna was there, and then from Mahavishnu stem came the Brahma, Lord Brahma, and then from him everybody else came. So then he created Daksha to his sons, 5,000 and 10,000 sons, but everybody after hearing to Narada Muni, right, they decided that we will not marry. So they gave up and they took sannyas. And then Chatush Kumara also, who were they are called as Manasaputras of Lord Brahma. They said that they cannot, because they were created to create progeny, populate the universe, but then they gave up. They didn't hear to Lord Brahma, because for them highest was attaining Krishna. And then older brother and younger brother, Ravana and Vibhishana, right? Vibhishana was younger brother, but then he had to deny Ravana. Because Ravana was not, he told Ravana that you should not abduct Sita and give her back, because she belongs to Lord Ram. But then he didn't agree, so he had to leave the kingdom. So he gave up on his brother. And then this famous story everybody knows, right? Where Shukracharya Bali Maharaj, where Krishna takes a incarnation as a Vamana Dev. And then Shukracharya, actually being a guru, he warns him that this is not an ordinary boy. He is going to, you will die, because he asked for, where do I keep my 3 foot, right? One he gave the higher world and the lower Patala Lok, and then one more leg, where should I keep them? He gave his, because he understood that he was Vishnu, but then he said that if I have to sacrifice my life for the Lord, then I'm ready for it. So he gave up on his guru. So this is Shukracharya and Bali Maharaj. And then husband and wife. So this story comes in Bhagavatam, Yagnik Brahman Patnis. So they were a Karmakandi Brahmins where they were doing the yagnas, the Brahmanas. And then these Krishna and Balram, they come and ask for food. But then they say that, no, we have not finished the yagna, we cannot offer you. Actually, the sacrifice, the enjoyer, Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvalokam aishwaram. Bhoktaram means the enjoyer of all sacrifices is Krishna. But then they rejected because they didn't know that. But then their wife, the wives, they were very intelligent. They understood that these two are lords, right? And then they denied their husband's orders, and they went and gave the food to this Krishna and Balram. So this we can see here, where they are bringing the food and offering before the sacrifice was over. And then family and man. So there are many examples. Bharat Maharaj, he was a son of Rishabdev. This we will see his story in chapter 3 tomorrow, right, in detail. So he gave up his kingdom, everything, and he took sannyas for self-realization. And then Raghunath Das Goswami is one of the Goswami who comes in our Sampradaya. And he was born in a very aristocratic family, very rich family. But then he gave up everything for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who gave up at very early age, he left his young wife, who was 16-year-old, and an old mother who was very old, 70, 80 years old. So he left both of them and he took sannyas because for a higher purpose. And then Lakshmana, so Lakshmana also we know, like because Lord Ram had to leave his kingdom. I mean, he went for exile, so he also accompanied. He had a very young wife, but then he left his mother and wife. And then Bharata also Lakshmana's brother. And then our Prabhupada also gave up on his family when he saw that there was an impediment for progressing in Krishna consciousness if he was in family. So, but at the age of 59, he had completed all his responsibilities, and then he took up seriously the Krishna consciousness. So, overview of the chapter: Arjuna's indecision, analysis of body and soul. So, this is almost 20 shlokas. We will not be covering so many. We will only go through some 2 or 3, and then it is for you to read in detail. And then next comes performing prescribed duties in 31 to 37. Nishkama Karma Yoga, and then qualities of a liberated soul. So, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. Somebody can, okay. If I unmute, then everybody will start speaking. So let me only read. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy." So yesterday, when Arjuna gave these 5 reasons, so now Krishna is asking, Kutastva Kashmaladimidam, means at this time, at this point of hour, right? So it is like so many people are gathered, like lakhs of millions of soldiers are gathered on both the sides. And at that time, if somebody is giving up on war, so how would be the reaction, right? So if just imagine your son or daughter who has prepared 1 year for medical or engineering, right? And there is an exam coming. They took a drop from college 1 year and then had to give an exam, and they say on that day that I cannot go. Then how it would be, how horrible it would be, right? We can't even imagine. And in this case, so the position of Krishna, we can understand Arjuna is giving up when he is supposed to fight. So he's asking why at this time. This does not give, because for a Kshatriya, they have to fight, and even if they die in war, that is glorious for a Kshatriya. So, but this is like it's not good. That's what Krishna is telling here. How can you tell at this hour? So now, what is a mood required to understand Gita? So that we can understand, this is also called as Shlok of Surrender. Okay, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness in this connection. I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So please all repeat after me once. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha
Karpanyadosupahata svavaha.
pritchami tvam dharma sammudha
Pritchami tvam dharma sambodhapetaha.
यच्छ्रेयस्या निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
Shreyaschchitam broohi tanme.
शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Yasteham tvam prapanam.
Yeah, thank you. So please practice this shloka, everyone. And this is available in that 108 shloka, which I think yesterday Manasvi or someone has shared already in the group. I saw that. Okay, so now in the chapter 1, right? So Krishna didn't speak a word. We saw Krishna didn't speak. So now Krishna will speak only when he surrenders. So we see here Arjuna is surrendering. So now Karpanya dosha. Karpanya means miserly weakness. So who is a miser? Miser means somebody who is having money but doesn't spend when needed, right? Such a person we call as miser, or we also use terms like kanjus and these things, right? So that miserly weakness means like one who does not know how to lead a life. That person is called is also a miser, because he is wasting the human form of life. So which is actually used like, just like if there is a gold brick, okay, gold brick, it can be made ornaments, but then I'm just using that as a paperweight. So I'm like a wasting it, right? So similarly, this human form is for a higher purpose. And if we are only using it for eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, that is the 4 things which are common between humans and animals. That is ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna. Ahara, because eating, both we also eat, animals also eat, they also eat even more, right? And elephants eat in tons. Eating, and then sleeping. The sleeping is done by us also, and even animals do even better, because animals like polar bear, they sleep for 6 months. They can do that. We can't beat them. Eating, sleeping, mating in the sense to have children. So we also have children, humans also, and even the animals, they have more, right? The cats and all, cats and dogs, they have many at once. So even we can't beat in that. And then defending is to save for future. So we have this tendency of keeping it for 1 generation, 2 generations, right? People are very busy accumulating money for children and grandchildren, like that. So as though we are going to live here forever. So that is done even by animals. So animals also do that. They also save. You would have seen like how a mother bird carries, right, to the baby. So they also do that saving. They also keep it. So if we are doing only these 4 things, then we are a miser. So here, one more thing we need to learn here, that when we are in a confusion, we need to approach an authority, right? So when it comes to a materialistic things, so common things that we face in our day-to-day things, so then we have to consult our elders, parents, right? So we have to go to them. So that is the right thing to do. And when it comes to spiritual, so when it comes to life, when you're not knowing where should I go, what is aim of my life, what is the purpose of my life, what am I doing here in this, why am I here, why am I in this world? So these things this can be answered only by a spiritual master, right? So then we have to surrender to a very submissively, we have to surrender. So there is a shloka for surrender, which says anukulasya sankalpaha pratikulasya varjanam rakshishyatiti vishwaso goptrutve varnanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye shadvida sharanagati. So this is called as 6 ways how one should surrender. Anukulasya sankalpa means I will do only the things which are favorable to Krishna. Anukulasya sankalpa. Pratikulasya varjanam. I'll reject whatever which is not favorable for my spiritual journey, spiritual life, right? And then anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulasya varjanam, rakshishyatiti vishwaso. That is, Krishna will protect me no matter what. So that confidence, that faith we need to have in Lord. So rakshishyatiti vishwaso, goptritve varnanam pratan. That is, Krishna acts as a guardian. So how he is acting as a guardian? Because though Krishna is not present, he is also there in our heart as Paramatma, but then Krishna as a guardian, he has given the Bhagavad Gita book. Why he has to give all these Vedas and Bhagavad Gita? He could have just sent us just like that, but then we don't know where to go, right? So it is like a roadmap, or it is like a manual. He has given us, he has not just sent us, but he has given those things so that we learn from it, right? And then we, so he has given, he acts as a guardian. Goptrutve varnanam tata atma nikshepa karpanya. Atma nikshepa means that surrendering, and with what, how, with the humility. So how he is humility, humble, we can see Arjuna, because he is a great warrior, and also Lord Krishna was a charioteer, right? So, but then he knows that he is surrendering to the Lord Krishna here. So this surrender, even Bhagavad Gita, if we have to understand, right? It is not very easy to understand Bhagavad Gita. So if we are in this mode, only then we will be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita. No sound? Hare Krishna. Am I audible or not? Can you somebody post in chat, please? I saw some message. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Rajiv Prabhu, or somebody said no. Rajiv Prabhu, please check your audio from your end. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, so that humility should be there. Only then we will be able to understand this Bhagavad Gita. Okay. First thing is faith. We should have faith in our scriptures. Otherwise, we will not be able, right? Samshayatma pranishyati. That is, he will, Krishna says that one who is doubtful, he will not gain anything in life, right? He will pranashyati, he says. So similarly, one is faith, and the other is humility. So these two things are required when we have to learn this Bhagavad Gita. So here Arjuna is asking, so please tell me what is best for me, right? So I am your disciple and the soul surrender unto you. So now Krishna will speak. So now he become disciple. So in the chapter 1, he was like a friend because they are cousins, right? So, but here he is surrendering as a disciple to the Lord. So how can we similarly surrender to Krishna in our lives? Okay, you can post your answers in chat. How can we surrender to Krishna? By serving deity worship, very nice. Okay. Akanksha, deity worship, nice. By serving, Neha says, by serving, chanting, very nice. Whatever is fine for our betterment. Be specific. And doing our duties. Okay, doing our duties. If we are doing our duties for our own sense gratification, then that is not for Krishna, right? We have to do something for Krishna. Yes, through bhakti. Yes. So how do we do bhakti? Yeah, by praying. Yeah, very nice, Sonia. Manju says to bhakti. Immense faith, devotion, Dr. Deepa. Yeah, very nice. Yes, by being Krishna conscious, offering bhogarti. Yes, by following his path. Yes, very nice. Leena Mataji says that we are grateful or all we have. Yes, being grateful. Yes, this is also a very good quality that one should be grateful for whatever we have. So recitation of by Krishna conscious. Very nice. Very okay. Very nice answer. Thank you, everyone. So this way we can surrender, right? So we have also in the past many people who have surrendered. So anybody knows who is this? this pastime, this comes in Bhagavatam, is a real thing. Whatever is in Bhagavatam is a true thing which has happened. It's not a myth. Some people call that as a myth. It is not myth. It's all happened, right? Like just like how Mahabharata had happened. Yes, Gajendra. Yes, this is Gajendra. He was a Indradumna Maharaj in a previous life. And because from that, he remembers a prayer and he offers to Lord when he was in a problem. Right? He goes on a vacation with his family, and there crocodile catches hold of his leg. Right? He was in great pain, and then he starts offering. That prayer comes to his mind because that intelligence is given by Lord. Because Krishna says, Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, means by me, one gets the remembrance, by me, one gets the forgetfulness. Matta Smriti Jnanam, and from me, somebody gets knowledge. So these things are given by Krishna. So he says that in chapter 15. So here, that Smriti is given to this Gajendra by Lord, and then he immediately offers, he don't know what to do. He sees a lotus there and he offers to Lord, and Lord is so pleased by his devotion, he immediately comes and he gives him the liberation. And here, Lord Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, right? So he is offering prayers to Lord Krishna. This is in Brahma Samhita. Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Barhavatam Samasitambuda Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So he offers this prayer. Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham means your eyes are like a Aravinda Dala means lotus eyes, right? Krishna's eyes are compared to lotus eyes. Barhavatamsam. Barha means the peacock feather. He's decorated. Krishna is decorated with a peacock feather on his head. Barhavatamsam Asitambuda means his body is like a cloud color. We can see that blue, right? Asitambuda. Sundarangam, he's so beautiful. Krishna is so beautiful. Akarshati iti Krishna. And then Kandarpakoti Kamaniya means the Kandarpas are the cupids, are said to be the most beautiful people on the planet. But then Krishna's beauty surpassed the millions of Kandarpas. So that's how is the prayers. Govindam Adi Purusham. You're the Adi Purusha. You are unborn. So he's praying. This is Lord Brahma's. He's surrendering. And then here we can see Prahlad Maharaj, who is surrendered to Narsimhadev. And here Lord Hanuman, right, is always worshipping Lord Ram. And how does Krishna show us how to become a good teacher? Tamuvachar Shikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Sena Yorubhayor Madhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So here Krishna smilingly is speaking. So can we imagine somebody in such a, you can just post your in chat, can you imagine someone in this situation smiling? So of course he is a Lord, but then because, why is Krishna smiling also? There is a reason. Because Krishna knows that, okay, now I got the time to speak Bhagavad Gita, because Dwapar Yuga was ending and Kali Yuga is coming. So he had to give this knowledge, right? So to Kali Yuga people, to us. So this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, was to be told. Otherwise, earlier, those people were so brilliant. For them, they were just hearing and they could digest everything, right? You can see in Bhagavad Gita, this one, Krishna tells all this, whatever we are learning 18 days, Krishna tells everything to Arjuna. Arjuna just hear and he understands and he digests everything. And then he's ready to fight. But for us, it is not so easy. We take so many days to, and even years together, people will not be able to understand completely Bhagavad Gita, right? For that, we need mercy of Lord and Guru. So here, that is why Krishna has given, so that Vyasadeva wrote this, everything. It is made available for all of us. So here is, that is why Krishna is smiling. And what is it teaching us? That when we are correcting somebody, we should not scold. So nobody will learn, right, by scolding. Nobody likes it. If somebody is scolding you and asking you to order something, or your parents or someone, will not be ready to do it, right? You don't feel like doing it if somebody scolds and tells. But instead, if they're smiling and they're correcting in a nice way, then they will speak. they will will be able to do that. So now what Krishna is telling, Ashocyananvashocastvam pragnavadamscha bhashase gatasu nagatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. The best Lord said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So Krishna, so he's teaching like a best teacher to bend, don't break. So he is indirectly telling the Arjuna that you are fool number one, because he's telling all big things. Oh, family tradition will go, we'll get sin, no enjoyment, and these things. You're quoting all these reasons, but do you know, Arjuna, a learned person does not cry for a body, right? Because the body is anyways going to die one day. So why should you lament? And there is a something called soul. It doesn't die. So the wise man does not lament neither for the living. So this is the first lesson we are learning in Bhagavad Gita, right? This is further we are going to see. So there's a something called soul, right? So all of us know when somebody dies, we say, oh, he died. So then anymore, nobody calls that person's name. We say that body, right? So what is that has gone? That is the soul. So for that, a learned person does not cry. So here are the things. So where in the first chapter where Krishna was completely silent, he only listens. So we can also take a lesson how when somebody is coming with a problem, most of the time, everybody are ready to give suggestion before even hearing what is the real problem, right? That is our mentality. We are very fast to give advice, but for taking, we are not so fast. But then to give to others, we are very fast. But then Krishna is silently listening everything. It is not like one reason Arjuna told, immediately Krishna said, like he kept on telling Arjuna, Krishna silently was listening everything. And then gives knowledge of Gita only when Arjuna is ready and surrenders. So unless somebody comes to us for advice, we should not freely go and give. Or even the spiritual knowledge, we cannot give just like that to anyone, right? That is why we do this course. Why should we ask people to enroll and then come to class and take? Because that at least that submissive attitude should be there. Who should want? We cannot just go and tell somebody I call, and because they may not be interested. We don't know what mentality people are in, right? So he has to be, Krishna only taught when he was ready, and he surrendered. Smiles and no anger. He didn't get angry at Arjuna, but instead Krishna was smiling. Always Krishna has a smiling face, right? So, and then bend not to break. So he didn't scold Arjuna and he didn't hurt him by scolding, but he very nicely, he was able to bend him. So even we should apply this in our lives. So when we are dealing with, means most of you, right, you will be in a leadership position or in a it can be you can be a parents, or you can be working in somewhere as a, so how you will deal with your subordinates, right? So these things, if we adapt, then really the person also will change, because finally we need to have a the person should change and we should get the result. Then you have to do in a very nice way. You should not break it. So bend but not break. So answer all questions in short immediately. So Krishna does not take like a lot of time to answer. He answers everything here. So keep encouraging Arjuna. So how does he encourage Arjuna? He calls him by different names like Mahabaho, Bharatarshabha, like by Kaunteya. So like that, by calling him different names, keeps encouraging. Give Arjuna choice, do as you like, no force. So after giving all these advices, and then in the chapter 18, at last, what does Krishna say? Yata ichchasi tata tatkuru. Tata kuru means as you want, whatever you wish, means I have told you everything. Now it is up to you. It's not like Krishna forcing you to do it. Krishna has given something called free will to us. It is us to whom we have to act. So Krishna is giving all this message, knowledge, everything in Bhagavad Gita. Hearing and then implementation is left to us. Krishna, see, there is a saying, right? You can only get the food, grass to the horse. You can't make it to eat, right? We can only bring it to its mouth, but not, you can't really put it inside. I mean, we can't make somebody eat it. So that is given to us, how much we take the instructions, right, from the Lord. So whenever Lord Krishna speaks, Bhagavad Gita says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Why not Krishna Uvacha? So can anybody say why not Krishna Uvacha? Because Sanjaya Uvacha is said, and then Sanjaya Uvacha, Sanjaya is there, Arjuna Uvacha is there, right? Dhritarashtra Uvacha is there. Why not Krishna Uvacha? Why is it said Sri Bhagavan Uvacha? Is anybody can volunteer? Yes, Anish Prabhu.
Yeah, Krishna is himself a God.
Yes, very nice. Yes, very good. Okay. Okay, because Krishna is supreme. Yes. So, yes, thank you so much. So, Krishna is Lord himself, right? That is why he is called as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, we understand different concepts of realization, God realization. Okay. So, there are three types of realization. One, the the first realization is like this. It is compared to, like, from very far, when we see something, there is a cloud and there is something very mountains, we can see very small mountains, right? But then when we go further, we can see a tree. And then more further, when you go, there is a bird in the tree which is eating a fruit, right? So this is the God realization compared to. So first one, realization. Okay. So understanding three aspects of absolute truth. So Brahman is the effulgence of the Lord. Okay. Effulgence means from Krishna's body, the light comes because he's so effulgent, right? We see in the chapter 11 where Arjuna starts describing Krishna's Virat Rupa like 1,000 suns. The effulgence was compared to 1,000 suns, not just one sun, right? So so this effulgence is coming from Lord's body. Many people think that this is the highest, the Brahman realization, and they think God is some light, right? There is an understanding of everyone that God is just light. No, that is not. So here it is said, it is only first realization of God. And then next realization higher to Brahman is Paramatma. So Paramatma is a four-handed feature of the Lord, Vishnu form, who is holding this Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. So he is there in our heart as Paramatma, okay, who is also called a super soul. And then the highest is Bhagavan. It is two-handed form of Krishna. So this is called highest realization. To understand God, not just as a light, not just as a four-handed form, Vishnu form, but as Bhagavan, as Krishna, is the highest understanding. Because we need to know about the qualities of the Lord, the form of the Lord, the past tense of the Lord, then it is a complete understanding. Brahmeti, Bhagavatam says, Brahmeti Paramatmeti, Brahmeti Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shabdyate, it says. So that three, so we can understand one more with this example, okay? The realization of God. So there is a sun rays. So what we can see from the sun, we only see the rays, okay? But from where is it coming? I can, so that rays are compared to Brahman. But from where is it coming? From the sun, right? So there is a sun, disk of a sun, right? So that is compared to the Paramatma. And then inside that disk, means inside that planet, is a Lord. There is a Lord Vivaswan. The sun god is sitting inside. So he, actually, this the bodies for here in this material world, we have a different body, but there are so many living entities in all the planets, even in the sun, right? Because they have certain body with which they can survive there. So the deity is Vivaswan. So here that is compared as Bhagavan. So this is the easy understanding with the sun analogy. Prabhupada explains it. So who is Bhagavan? Bhaga means in Sanskrit opulence. Van means one who possesses. So one who is possessing all these six qualities in full: beauty, rich, famous, strength, knowledge, and renunciation. Aishwaryasya samagrasya virasya yashasaha shriya gnana vairagyascha chaiva sannambhaga vitingana. So it is from Vishnu Purana. The one who is possessing all these six in full is called as Bhagavan, right? So we have seen people who may be very beautiful, right? But not necessarily everybody has all these 6 in full. Some may be very rich, right? Like Ambani or some big people, but then they may not be very beautiful, or something will be missing. Not everybody has all the qualities, but Krishna is all, because Krishna is all beautiful. That's why he's called all attractive. And so many gopis, everybody wanted to marry Krishna, right? And then he was so rich. Krishna is he made 16,000 palaces for all his wives. Not just one palace he kept all the wives. He made, the palaces were made of jewels, right? So and precious stones. So he made that. He was so rich. Not only that, he created this material world and spiritual world. See, this material world is just 1/4 of his creation. Spiritual world is the 3/4 of the creation. So so many innumerable planets are there, and so many planets floating in the sky. Everything, all God's created. So he's so rich and famous. So Krishna is so famous. Krishna had done his pastimes, the Leela, so 5,000 years back, right? In Dwapar Yuga. So, but still today we are talking about his Leelas. So sweet Leelas, the Makhan Chor, and all Krishna's pastimes are so famous. Till today we speak. But in material world, somebody is famous, we forget after some years, right? Nobody remembers them after some years. So, and then strength. So Krishna is all strength. Like, without any weapons, he killed so many demons in Vrindavana. And also he lifted the Govardhan Betta, right? So Govardhan Parvat, which was 25 kilometer long and 25 kilometer width. He just lifted with his tiny finger, right? And then that too for 7 days and 7 nights. And in the other hand, he was playing a flute. So that was Lord's strength. And then knowledge. So Krishna is all knowledge. This Bhagavad Gita knowledge is the highest supreme knowledge, and also all Vedas. Vedaishta sarve rahameva vedo. Krishna has given all these Vedas to us. And then renunciation. So Krishna is all renounced. So every day of Brahma, morning the creation happens, not our day. Brahma's day is different. So in his day, every morning creation happened, and by night it get annihilated. But Krishna is not attached. Okay, he stays detached. Not only that, when he left Vrindavan, he was so much attached to everyone there. So all are crying when Krishna was leaving to Mathura. But Krishna was detached because he is Lord. He is all renunciation, a renunciation. So these are the features of Bhagavan. So this is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagavaniti. So now comes the answers for first question, compassion. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So dehinosmin yatha dehe. So just like in the same body, we see so many changes, right? I'm not the same what I was 5 years back, or when I was small, right? We were a baby, and then that body went. So where is that body now? So we have been changing. The cells die every day, and then we have been changing. So there are six stages a body goes through. So when soul comes into the mother, it takes a body, and in mother's womb, right, taking birth in the mother's womb, and then grows there, and then comes out and stays for some time and cause some effect in the sense that person also, he will also get married, he will have children, right? Some effect. And then dwindle means he'll become old, and then vanish in oblivion. So that means that he will die one day. So these 6 stages everybody has to go through. So just like that, in a body itself we see this 6 stage. So similarly, when a person dies, what happens to the soul? The soul does not die. It is eternal. Okay, ajo nitya shashwata purana. So that is like this aja is eternal and ever existing. We don't know when this soul has come into existence, right? We have been taking so many lives, millions of lives. We don't even know how many lives we took. So this soul, when the body becomes old and useless, it decides to leave and it takes another body. So Krishna is telling, anyway, so what are you repenting? So the self-realized soul is not bewildered. He does not get disturbed by such things. So who am I? Am I this body? So this we can see there's a gross body, okay? Actually, we are spirit souls, okay? So this is what we are covered. So the soul is outerly covered with these 5 material elements. What are they? Earth, fire, water, sky. It is called as ether and air. So these 5, which is our material body, right? The body that we have, which is made of these 5 elements. And then we have something called subtle, okay? That is not shown here. That is called mind, intelligence, and ego. So these 3 subtle things, which is not visible, but it is there in us. There's something called mind. We have a mind, but we know that we have mind, but it is not visible. And then we know that we have intelligence. That is also very subtle. We can't see. And then false ego. False ego is something identifying myself with this body, thinking me that I am this body. I forget that I am a spirit soul. Actually, I am a spirit soul. So I am a soul. It's very, very tiny. It is given in Shastras that the size of a soul is a 1 by 10,000 part of a tip of a hair. You know, the tip of a hair is so small, right? If it is made 10,000 times, it is cut into 10,000. That one part is the size of a soul. So I am that soul. Actually, when we come into this material body, the soul shrinks to that size. But when we go to spiritual world, we belong to spiritual world, then we get the proper body, the spiritual body. So here the soul is covered by the false ego, mind, intelligence, and then covered by the material body. So I am not this body. So this realization we need to have, right? This is the first understanding. At least if we don't, unless we understand this, we will not be able to understand anything else. We should at least accept this, that I am not this body, right? It is just like a car and the driver, okay? So there is a car. So this car can be compared to our body. And then there is somebody who is driving it. Who is that? The soul. So where does this soul exist in our body? So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in many places he says, prominently in 2 places, where in chapter 15.15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. I am there in all living entities in the heart. Hridi sannivishto. Hridi means in heart. I am staying in the heart of all living entities, not just human beings, in heart of all the living entities. And then in other place in chapter 18.61, where Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam ruddeshu arjuna tishtati. So Ishvara sarva bhutanam, Ishvara is Lord, who is on sarva bhutanam, in all living entities, ruddeshu, in heart. I am staying in the heart. So Krishna is there in the heart. Even the soul is there in the heart, and also Krishna is there in the heart as super soul. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantapo, na shoshayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So how can it be cut, right? It is so small. There is no scientific equipment that has come so far to identify the soul, because science does not believe this. Can you imagine? Science does not believe the existence of soul, because science only believes based on their experiments, right? And that experiments, that is also done, made on some faith, right? Some hypothesis. So, but then here, that is the reason we have to consider the spiritual things not from scientific background, not with our material science, but from the spiritual science, from Bhagavad Gita only. Otherwise, we will not be able to understand this knowledge of soul. Nowhere in our schools or universities will be able to learn, right? So here Krishna is telling that this soul cannot be cut into pieces. So soul cannot be cut and by any weapon, right? No weapon can cut the soul, nor can be the fire can burn it, nor the water can moisten it, nor the wind can dry it, right? So it cannot be done. So again, Krishna is telling, why is your false compassion? Because Arjuna was brought into bewilderment. He's a pure devotee of soul, but then Krishna had to bring him to bewilderment, because otherwise, how this knowledge of Gita has to be told for the people of Kali Yuga, right? So he was brought into confusion by Krishna so that this Bhagavad Gita message can be told. So now it was like a material compassion which Arjuna is having, because he is thinking on a bodily platform. So it's the story of Chitraketu Maharaj. Do we have time, or else we can see this video? I'll do one thing. I can post this because it will take time. We'll post in the group story of Chitraketu. Like it shows like how the soul, the reincarnation. You all must have heard about the reincarnation stories, right? This is more like a reincarnation story. This is a story from Bhagavatam. We'll share this to you. Najayate. So all these are qualities of soul. Now Krishna is explaining. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and full of knowledge. So just like Krishna, right? Krishna is also unborn. He is eternal, and Satchidananda Krishna is called as Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. So Krishna is unborn. We are also unborn. The soul is unborn. Eternal. We are also eternal. We are existing from time immemorial. And then ever existing, right? It's always existing. And then Satchidananda. We have this. So Sat means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge and bliss. Actually, the soul by itself is always complete knowledge and bliss. But now it is covered, right? Our consciousness is not clear, right? Because of so many things, so many of our desires that we are carrying from so many millions of years, that is not visible. That is why we are not in bliss. So, but when we connect the soul to super soul, because we are part of Krishna, then we become blissful. So that is what it is said here. Krishna is telling the soul is unborn, eternal, and ever existing. So he does not even birth. There is no birth and death for a soul. Only a body dies and takes another body. Vasamsi jeenani yatha vihaya navani grannati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jeenani anyani sayyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. See, just as easy as that for the soul, right? We cry so much if somebody dies. But here Krishna is telling, just like how when your cloth get dirty, how do you change your cloth, right? We fell, what will we do? We will just wash, or we will just, if it becomes worn off that cloth, then we just throw it away and take a new one. Just like that, the soul will leave the body when it thinks that this body is useless, and we can see here, right? It's a baby, and it goes through all the stages, and again soul is again taking another birth. So just like a cloth, it is compared, the analogy is given here, just like a cloth, giving up of old cloth and taking a new one. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityas tamsi tikshasva bharata. Okay, so basically what Krishna is saying, matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada means this in this material world, right? Always this happiness and distress, it is always there, just like seasons. How the seasons comes and go, right? There cannot be one season all the time. The season keeps changing. Similarly, the happiness and distress come and go. We cannot, nobody, it can be any poor person or rich person. There is no one, we cannot see in this world that he is always happy, right? It is impossible. So Krishna is telling, it comes and goes. You have to bear it, right? You have to tolerate. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course or like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons, they arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So we should not get disturbed, because Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that this material world is a dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So it is temporary and full of miseries. So we should be ready to accept it. So bird in a cage. So there's a story. So there's a one old woman. Okay, she's having a bird, the parrot. So she was having a very beautiful bird, and she was very fond of it. So she had made a very beautiful cage, and every day she used to maintain that cage, and she used to paint it with the different colors every day. But then she was so much concerned with maintaining that cage, she forgot that she has to feed something to the bird. So what happens? After some days, the bird dies, obviously, right? There's no food. What will happen to the bird? It will die. So what does this message for us? So this body, our body, the material body we have is compared to this cage, and the soul is compared to this bird. So currently we are not focusing on the soul, but I am only busy maintaining this body, right? Whatever comforts, all the sense gratification I want to enjoy, which body is not permanent and which is not coming with me after this life. But I am neglecting something, my soul, which is accompanying me every life. Whatever life I take, I may take animal life or I may take bird life, right? There's no guarantee that I will get a human life every time. So if we don't make use of our human life, and there's no guarantee of a human life. So just like that, we are neglecting our soul. So the soul, how we are not giving food for our soul, right? Yes. So very dangerous thing we are doing it. So how do we feed the soul, right? So we all can chant together once. This is the food for the soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You all can chant. I think I unmuted. Oh. Yes. Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. So this is the food for our soul. We have to chant, right? So and then, so that second question, the enjoyment. So Krishna answers here. So I'll finish in another 10 minutes, okay? Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchayaha. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain heavenly planet, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up and fight with determination. So this is for the question where Arjuna says there is no enjoyment. So Krishna is telling here that if you get killed in the battlefield, you will get the heavenly planet, you will go to heaven. Or if you win, then whole earth is yours, right? So what is there to lament, Arjuna? See, here Krishna is telling him, you will either go to heaven if you get killed, or you will be conqueror, right? Because until Parikshit Maharaj, the whole continent, the earth belonged to one king. So Krishna is telling that there is always enjoyment. There is, don't say that there is no enjoyment. Avacyavadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkakarannu kim. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? So he was saying like, so this is again, you are running away, but nobody will think that you have done out of compassion, right? Nobody will tell that, oh, Arjuna was compassionate, so he went. No, but Kauravas and Duryodhana, everybody, they will make fun of you, the Karna, everyone, that you have, he's a, I mean, they will tell that Arjuna is incapable, right? So that is why he ran away from the war. So they'll make fun of you. That's what Krishna is telling. So what is more painful? So for a Kshatriya, somebody making fun is equal to death, right? So Krishna is telling that. Neha Bikrama Nashosti Pratyavayo Navityate Swalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So when you're doing something for Krishna, there is no sin. So here, Krishna is telling, you have to fight for me. So when Arjuna, because Krishna has to establish religion, right? So Krishna says, Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, right? Yada yada dharmasya. So for Krishna, if somebody is doing in devotion, there is no sin. So we have examples here where Lord Hanuman, he burnt Lanka, but then there is no sin because many people died, but then he did for Lord Ram. So there is no sin. And then there's a story of, we know this Vibhishan, right? He also left his brother. So there also there's no sin. Otherwise, disobeying elders is a sin, but then there is no sin. Okay, this is a story of one rat, which was actually, it was in altar, right? In a puja room. It saw the lamp, the lamp burning, and then he saw, and he mistook that as a fruit, and he jumped in to have that fruit, thinking that as a fruit, and then oil spilled over it, and it caught fire, and he died. But then Krishna, he gave him liberation, because thinking that he had come to do some seva, service to him, because he came there and he died. So that is what Krishna. So in devotional activity, whatever we do, right? Even you are hearing to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will always remember. He'll not forget. Life after life, Krishna will remember, okay, this person has kept some time for me to listen about me. So I have to do something for him, right? Krishna will always remember that. Yavanartau dapane sarvatah samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. All purposes served by a small well can be once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind it. So the purpose of Vedas is to know Krishna. Vedaischa sarve ahameva vedo. What is the purpose of reading Vedas? Because most of the 90% of Vedas have only the fruitive activities, like you do this puja, you will get that. Okay, you do if somebody wants to have a good wife, then you worship Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva, and then like that. So, or somebody want to go to heaven, you do this puja. But then people forget what is the purpose. Purpose of studying is not just to enjoy. That is gradually coming to a spiritual platform. Vedas is only gradual upliftment, but highest is to know Krishna, right? So similarly, Krishna, this answer 4 is the family tradition. So Krishna is telling here, so if like if a father has to be an example, right? So what example are you setting for your children? So tomorrow somebody can run away like from the exam, and they tell, okay, Arjuna has also left from the war, why should I take? So you are going to give a bad example. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi yekeha kurunandana bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So this is answer for indecisiveness, right? So Krishna is telling him that the people, Vyavasayatmika buddhi means only one. They don't have a duality. They know that, okay, I have to do spirituality. Okay, Krishna is saying this. I have to do this. I have to follow this. I have to do. Okay, Prabhupada has given us to do 16 rounds of chanting per day. Okay, and then Prabhupada says that I will take you to the spiritual world, the Goloka. So if spiritual master is promising something, then it is not wrong. But then that sincerity we should have, and then following regulative principles. So these things, so that Vyavasai Atmika Buddhi means following there is no double thinking. Okay, I have to do. There is no many branch. So here the example is when in the Gurukul, Dronacharya asked all his students to aim at a bird, dummy bird, but dummy bird's eye. Okay, it was placed in somewhere on the tree very far. So all the students were able to see, like they were saying, "I'm seeing what are you able to see?" They were saying like, "I'm seeing the forest," and some said the mountains, and then the tree and the leaves, branches, like different things. But then when Arjuna was asked, Arjuna said he could see only the eye. That was the focus and concentration of Arjuna. So that focus, Krishna is telling, so we should never forget Krishna in our life. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that focus is required. So that is what Krishna is talking about. You should not be indecisive. You should know that you are doing for a higher purpose. So you should fight. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha Tita Pragnastadocyate. So this was a question asked by Arjuna. Okay, Lord, you're talking about so many things like about the Sthita Pragna, self-realized person. So how does a self-realized person look like? So Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So all the sense, how are we getting all the desire? Because when our senses, right, the five senses, it comes in contact with the sense object, then it is said misery starts. That is told in our Shastras. So whenever the senses come in contact with the sense object, the misery starts. So how do we have that? And all this is a mental concoction. What does mental concoction means? It is not in reality. It's always like a hallucination of mind, thinking that, oh, if I do that, I'll be happy. But then when I do that, actually I will not be happy. I will not get happiness, right? You must, many of you can relate to it. Many times we think that, okay, if I do that, okay, I'll be happy, right? We keep on doing so many things in life, thinking that, okay, doing that, I may be happy. So this is all Krishna is calling that as a mental concoction. So when a person gives up all varieties of sense desire, and from which are all the sense desires are our mental concoction. So when a person gives up, and then he can find, his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone. So we know this Prahlad Maharaj, though he had so many problems, his father was giving him every day, right? So, but then he was not at all feared because he believed in the Lord. So he was put in fire, right? Was tortured by demons, and then Prabhupada was so determined. So whatever happiness distress he was, and at the age of 70, what made him to go to abroad? Right? He was in Vrindavan. He was happily spending his life. He could have spent it. Why he had to go? He could have worked on his self-realization and devotional service. But then, no, because the pure souls are so compassionate. They want to deliver everyone, right? That is why he went. So now, this called as, so the question, how can a supposedly harmless contemplation turn into insatiable lust and anger and cause one's fall down? So this is a called as 8th stage of fall down. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasto upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Okay, so we'll understand with this example. Okay, so there is an object of senses. Okay, we'll just read once. So while contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develop, and from lust anger arise. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again to material pool. So how does everything happen? See, when something happens, okay, so when a crime happens, right, how does it happen? It is not like in one day, one person becomes a murderer or a thief. He is having, so first time, he just sees something, right? He wants to theft. So he sees a one beautiful necklace on some woman is wearing. So then he thinks, okay, I want to have that, right? Object of senses is there. And then he gets attached. So when there is an object of senses and then he gets attached, from there then lust comes. So then when it is not fulfilled, so when the lust is not fulfilled, the person develops anger. But then when lust is fulfilled, it becomes greed, right? Want of more. And then anger to delusion. So he becomes confused when there is a anger. And then when there is a confusion, the person is not able to make out what is right and what is wrong. And then there is a bewilderment of memory. Memory, he is not able to, he forgets the things because he is completely lost in that sense enjoyment, in that attachment towards that sense object. And what happens from bewilderment of memory? Loss of intelligence. The person's intelligence does not work. Okay, so intelligence will work properly when we are feeding our soul. Okay, but when we are not feeding soul, but when I'm more attached to my material body and I'm interested in giving satisfaction to my senses, right? I'm only concentrating on that. Then what happens? So everything, all these 8 stages of fall down. If I'm having attachment, that means I am going to come down here, and then it comes to loss of intelligence. And then the intelligence function is to make discrimination between good and bad. So that discrimination the intelligence is not able to make, and then he thinks whatever he's doing is right because he's so much attached to that sense object, right? So then what happens? The person finally falls down. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushva nivartate. So Krishna is giving a solution here. So how to come out of it? So the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment through the taste for sense object remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So how can we do? Krishna is telling that, yes, for the embodied soul, embodied means I am actually a spirit soul, but I have this embodied, right? Embossing, they say, I have got this body. So because of this, I am called as embodied soul. So I cannot restrict, I may have that in mind to do sense enjoyment, but slowly when I restrict, how do I restrict? By giving the mind a higher taste. You cannot completely don't do this, but then give something else, right? So give something higher taste, like give Bhagavad Gita, start reading. So what happens? The lower taste automatically goes, because when you give higher taste, right? So when we go to when somebody who has eaten only in a roadside hotel, he don't know what is the taste of a 5-star, okay? Many food items, he don't know. So then he don't know, he thinks that is the highest. But then when he gives something higher, he can make out, okay, there is something higher, this is really tasty, right? Or there is just a sugar. Sugar is very sweet, but then you give jamu, it is more relishable, right? The taste. So similarly, so when a mind is given a higher taste by giving the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, these things, then slowly the interest for those things, lower taste, the one which brings my consciousness down, that will slowly, gradually reduce. So that's how we have to increase our, then the person becomes fixed in consciousness. So these are the summary, what we saw in today's chapter. So compassion, Krishna says we are not the body. Okay. And then no enjoyment, you get heaven or kingdom. Fear of sinful activities, devotional activity, no sin. And you know what, like in devotional activity, it is said like in material world, right? Whatever you do, you may become a doctor or you may become a PhD in this life. So next life, again, we have to start from the scratch, right? You have to go from LKG, UKG, everything. But then in spiritual life, we see many children from childhood, they know very well how do they recite. We see the child, right? Manasvi, how is she able to recite the shlokas so well? Because that is all some sukruti she has done in the previous life. So something is there. So this spiritual thing, whatever we do, it is not going to waste. So whatever you do for soul, it will not go waste. It will be carried to your next lives. But whatever we do to this body is waste. So we should be intelligent enough where we are spending our time much. Am I seeing more my body or am I taking care of my soul? So devotional activity, no sin. Destruction of family tradition, be a role model to prevent Varna Sankara. Indecision, serve the Lord with firm determination. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. If any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anish Prabhu, you have a question, you can unmute. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any of you took the quiz and all? Quiz? All of you are able to take the quiz? Okay. Abhinav has taken. Divya has taken. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
I have a clarification.
Yes.
I mean today you have spoken about body and soul, right? I mean body diminishes, but soul enters from one body or changes the body rather. But when a person leaves the body or when a person dies, we say, may your soul rest in peace. Why do we say that?
That is wrong because we don't see what is Shastra saying. That is not right. Right? That is not there in our Shastras. RIP, rest in peace. It is not possible to be at peace. We have to, based on our karmas, we have to take a life, one more life to for that. Right? So that is wrong. We should never use. Now you know, you don't use.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Any other questions? So, how many of you learned something new today? Anything new? Like something, okay, I didn't know this. Yes, I felt like that when I first heard. Because we don't even much concentrate on the soul part, right? Yeah. Because most of the time the understanding is that this life is last. So enjoy in this life and it's over. That's what is most of the people think. Okay. Okay. Qualities of good teacher. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. Focus on soul. Anjana says. Okay. Nice. Okay. Not, but I lie the part. I am not body. I like the part. Yes. Leena Mataji. Yes. Good. Okay. So how was the 8 stages of fall down? Is there a learning from that? Right? Okay. Welcome. Thank you. Nice class. Bird and cage story. Very nice. Yes. That is easy to remember, right? To relate to us. You can remember the story. Very nice. Yes. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. What else? Okay. Yeah. Quiz is there. Yes, you have to take every day after the class. Yesterday, I think we have posted in the group the link. So please register yourself and then you can take. Yeah, you can check. We will repost once again. Okay. So, okay, thank you, Leena Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, any other question? Any questions from today's chapter? Yes, Nirmala Mataji, you have.
Mataji, this is, we call it, it is a Stula Sharira and Sukshama Sharira, no?
Yes.
So for the subtle body, we say Sukshama. For the gross body, we say it's a Stula Sharira, right?
Yes, correct.
So our body, so it is covered with Sukshama and false ego.
Yeah, see, the outer body, that gross body, Stula Sharira, which you are saying, that is 5 elements.
5 elements, yeah.
Water, ether, fire, air. And then there is a subtle, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. False ego.
Yeah.
These are covered. And then there is a soul.
Okay.
Actually, it is not that there is a body, there is a subtle and soul. Actually, there is a soul. Our soul is covered by this. Because we identify with this body, we think that there is a soul in my body. But actually, there is a soul and these things are covered.
Yeah. So birth after birth, so it's all been carried over, like all this Sukshama.
Yes. Yeah, that will go. The Sukshma Sharira will go along with the soul. Mind, intelligence, false ego will go. So this in future chapter you will see that where Krishna explains how from while going from one body to another body, the soul carries like that's how. Otherwise, how do we do the karmas what we left from here, right? So Krishna gives whatever intelligence is required, and he makes us forget rest of the things. We don't remember, right, what happened. But then he is intelligent enough to make sure that we are getting our karma, right? So that we will carry. So we see certain behavior of children when the childhood, but may not be like nobody. I mean, it is very small child, but have so many qualities who maybe parents don't have also. But because the child is carrying from previous lives.
Previous births. Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, okay, we'll repost it, Anjana Mataji. Yes. Anjana Mataji, you have any question? You raised your hand. Okay, no. Okay, if there are no questions, then we can close. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Namachari Haridas Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna. Thanks for coming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.